Have you ever encountered someone who seemed perfectly reasonable, composed, well-mannered, and even generous, yet left you with an unsettling feeling? What if the true danger in people isn't found in explosive tempers or overt hostility, but in something far more subtle? Carl Jung, the pioneering Swiss psychiatrist, believed that one particular trait, often hidden in plain sight, defines the most dangerous kind of person. It's not the trait we instinctively fear, such as aggression or dishonesty. In fact, this danger often wears the quiet mask of calm, control, and even charm. That's exactly why it can go unnoticed until it's too late. In this video, we are going to delve into Jung's profound psychological insights and gradually reveal the warning sign you should never ignore. By the end, you may start viewing certain individuals in a very different light. Before we dive in, be sure to subscribe and join our community, where you'll receive early access to new videos and insights on personal and spiritual growth. Now, let's get started. To understand Jung's warning, we must begin with his perspective on the human mind. Jung believed that every person wears a mask, a social persona crafted to function in the external world. Yet, behind that mask lies the unconscious, a vast territory filled with instincts, suppressed feelings, and universal archetypes. One of the most significant aspects of this hidden realm is what Jung termed the shadow, the collection of all the traits we reject in ourselves. Jung posited that the shadow is not solely a product of society. It emerges from the tension between who we are and who we believe we must be. As children, we absorb messages about what is acceptable, lovable, or worthy of praise. Traits that don't fit those messages, such as vulnerability, anger, ambition, or independence, are quietly buried. Over time, we come to identify only with the parts of ourselves that receive approval while disowning everything else. However, the disowned does not simply vanish, it waits. It lingers beneath the surface, shaping our reactions, choices, and perceptions in ways we do not recognize. This silent influence is what makes the shadow both crucial and dangerous when left unexplored. What makes the shadow so powerful is that it is not inherently evil, it is simply unacknowledged. It contains our impulses, our envy, our fears, and even our suppressed talents. However, when these parts are not confronted, they become distorted. People who deny their shadow often project it onto others, blaming the world for the very things they refuse to acknowledge within themselves. Jung regarded this as a psychological ticking time bomb. As we delve deeper, let's examine what occurs when this shadow is ignored or entirely repressed. When someone denies their darker impulses, those feelings do not simply disappear. Instead, they retreat into the unconscious, accumulating energy and waiting for release. Jung warned that what is not made conscious will be lived out as. In other words, the more we refuse to acknowledge our flaws, the more those flaws control us from behind the scenes. The unconscious does not merely store repressed impulses, it transforms them. Jung viewed the unconscious not as a passive container, but as an active shaping force. When parts of the self are denied, they do not remain dormant, they mutate, seeking expression through indirect and often destructive channels. The more these disowned aspects are suppressed, the more symbolic and irrational their emergence become. Nightmares, compulsive behaviors, irrational fears, or self-sabotaging patterns can all be signs of a shadow attempting to break through the barrier of consciousness. Jung believed that the longer we ignore these signals, the more they escalate, pushing the individual toward either breakdown or breakthrough. A person who represses their shadow may appear serene and composed, but their inner world tells a different story. Over time, this split between the outer self and the inner reality creates tension that must find an outlet. Sometimes it manifests as emotional outbursts, other times it seeps through sarcasm, control, or subtle acts of cruelty, masquerading as concern. These individuals often do not understand why they sabotage relationships or feel chronically dissatisfied, but the root cause is always the same: a shadow left unacknowledged. This dynamic becomes particularly dangerous when it is paired with a certain illusion, one that Jung deemed even more insidious. The individuals Jung warned us about most were not those who were openly hostile or violent. They were those who believed they were entirely good. When someone perceives themselves as morally pure, spiritually elevated, or fundamentally righteous, they often lose the capacity to reflect on their own behavior. What makes moral superiority so treacherous is its immunity to self-criticism. People convinced of their goodness will justify manipulation as help, control as protection, or even cruelty as tough love. Their actions may appear ethical on the surface, but beneath lies a hidden agenda, the avoidance of their own shadow. Jung believed that the more someone clings to an identity of virtue, the more likely they are to unconsciously act out its opposite, precisely because they have buried any awareness of its existence within themselves. So what connects all of this? What is the invisible thread weaving through these dangerous patterns of behavior? Jung provided us with a chilling answer. However, before we explore it, if you find this video insightful, consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear these ideas. And if you'd like to support and help us continue creating thoughtful content like this, you can click the thanks button below the video to leave a donation. Your support truly enables us to continue this work. Now let's return to Jung's most alarming insight. According to Carl Jung, the most dangerous sign in a person is the complete absence of shadow awareness. When someone refuses to acknowledge their capacity for wrongdoing, when they perceive themselves as incapable of anger, cruelty, or deception, they become truly unpredictable. It is not the presence of darkness that makes someone dangerous, it is the denial of it. People who recognize their flaws are often more trustworthy because they are aware of their potential to harm and take steps to avoid it. But those who believe they have no shadow are blind to their own behavior. They justify everything, rationalize anything, and leave a trail of confusion behind them, never understanding the role they play. In Jung's perspective, this is not merely a psychological flaw, it is a form of spiritual blindness. So the next time you meet someone who insists they are always kind, always moral, and always in the right, pause, ask yourself, what are they not seeing in themselves? The answer might just protect you. If these ideas have given you something to reflect upon, or challenge the way you see yourself or others, leave a comment below. I would love to hear your perspective. And if you wish to continue exploring the deeper layers of the human mind, don't forget to subscribe, because the deeper we look into others, the more we are inevitably drawn into the depths of our own soul.